Hello, everybody. I'm immigration lawyer John Kasravi. Thank you for joining us today, June 18, 2024. We got some great news popping up. The administration did some good work finally. I don't know why they waited to the very, very end. Who knows if he gets reelected, but they waited to the very, very end to decide to make a special program for spouses of U.S. citizens who've been in the United States for 10 years now, to allow them to stay in the United States and do a process called adjustment of status if they entered without authorization. So we'll see how that works out. You're going to see a lot of posts online about this, but frankly, for those regular viewers or watch, I don't like to jump on a bandwagon to just try to get attention for something that's not even fully clear yet what's going to happen. One thing is they're not going to give us the exact paperwork for it till the end of summer, so we don't really know what's going to look like at the end. And there's lawsuits going to happen. And if administration changes, they'll be switched off. So one aspect is we don't know what's actually going to happen for another couple of months with this program. I hate to be depressing sad on it, but I just want to give a realistic perspective. But even in that case, once you do it, because it looks like the current administration's a mess right now, politics, you never know what's going to happen. But there's a good potential lawsuits or a presidential change will undo it. So if it does go through and it's something beneficial for you, you need to jump on it quick then to get it in case they stop it later. So that's something to be very mindful of. This is for people who've been in the U.S., enter without permission, married U.S. citizens, and don't have other inadmissibility issues. That's the main thing you need to have a lawyer for on this, or at least a consultation, is you need to analyze your background for inadmissibility issues, as well as probably being able to get the documentation needed to show 10 years here and what documentation is acceptable. We don't even know yet how the exact details of the program work out, but that's the real honest answer, what's up with it. So we'll keep you posted. We'll do a lot of material on it as time goes on. We get from information. But that's just as much as we know right now, because again, the government hasn't promulgated the exact rules or the forms involved, the fees involved. So it's just not, we don't even know how it's going to play out. So it's a hypothetical thing still, even though the government's indicated it's going to move forward with it. They say, wait till summer, end of summer. Okay, well, let's do that. Now we come here every Tuesday at 4 p.m. It used to be 5 p.m. at 4 p.m. Pacific time to take your immigration questions live on YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook. I'm not sure if Facebook works. They're having issues. But X, Instagram, and TikTok. So let's jump into some questions right now on TikTok. If you have a question, just shoot it out. Please don't post it multiple times, so I'll have to mute you. Leo says, do you think removal proceedings that's closed can affect to apply for the program in place? Well, we got to see why you're in removal proceedings, and typically, and what you mean by closed, if it's terminated or if it's just administrative closure, whether the situation is. So, Leo, a case like yours, you definitely need to have a consultation. You should have a copy of your whole removal case. You can go get a FOIA copy of it, but a lawyer is going to do heavy analysis of your case to figure out what's going on, Leo, because it's not a particularly easy one. We got to do a lot of background checks for that one. Zero Zach says, my USCIS case finally approved after 12 months. Wonderful. What kind of case was it, Euro? Taylor says, what if your I-485 is still actively being reviewed? I mean, I don't know what you mean by what if it's being reviewed. I'm not sure what your question is. Fowler says, what about EB3 unskilled process? What about it? You'll have to be more specific. You can't just name out a visa category and say, what about it? So M says, what about a DACA married to U.S. citizens? Process much easier? No, I mean, that the DACA part doesn't make sense, other than the fact that DACA people might be able to go and come back illegally into the United States if they didn't enter illegally the first time around. But if, for example, if you enter with a visa, then it doesn't really matter. The DACA part didn't really matter. Belua says, my husband came through the Mexico border. He is here 1 year only. I'm a citizen. We have kids. So if he didn't enter with a visa, he's going to have to do the waiver, the 601A waiver. And this whole new process won't affect him because he should have been here for 10 years. But we got to get the details in your case. Oh, let me pause it really quick. We set up a bi-weekly, if we get a lot of people wanting to join it, we'll do a weekly webinar. It's a private webinar about marriage green card cases. If you want to join it and be part of it, because there's going to be a smaller group, so you get more, more attention, and we can talk more openly because it's private, not on the broad like this, all over the place. But go to marriageimmigrationlaw.com. That's the website to download the guide. But once you download the guide, another page will come up for you to fill out a longer questionnaire so we know which people are joining and what issues they have, so that when we do the webinar, we know exactly what your people are looking for the webinar. So it's always fine-tune what it's there. We don't talk about stuff that's unrelated, So go to marriageimmigrationlaw.com. You can join, you can sign up for the live webinar. This is going to be Fridays at 10 a.m. Pacific. Again, that's marriageimmigrationlaw.com. Angela says, I got removal proceedings since 2001. Does that affect my future? Angela, I have no idea. Well, we got to review your case. Angela says, what do you think about a DUI on the record? It depends on your total record and what happened. Did you hit somebody? Did you hit a car? Were you belligerently drunk? Is the moral character component, how strict the officer wants to be, what's the basis of the case? Why did you get a DUI? What are the circumstances? I once had a guy who was getting divorced, and he also had depression. So because of it, so they gave him some medication, and his friends like, come out. And he had a beer, and that didn't hedge well. And he got his blood alcohol was okay, but he hit a car, and then the cops got him for DUI anyway. So but we were able to explain to the officer that this guy, his life circumstances. So it's not something I can say like, what about DUI? This is it. We got to see what's going on in your life and what's going on. Sonia asks on YouTube, hello, sir. And if you have a good question, asking on YouTube is probably best, because on TikTok, there's so many people repeating their questions. It's hard to keep up. Sonia says, hello, sir. My husband died in America. I'm sorry about that. He was U.S. citizens. My in-laws not giving the death certificate. You can request that from the government. My immigration case in process. I'm waiting for interview. Your case is no longer the same. It's an I-360 VAWA case. Those do automatically change, but you need to get the death certificate. It's a public record. You can request it. Lamar says, how long does the BIA appeal usually last? There's no usuals and anything on the timelines. Yes, it goes. I submitted an I-130 in June 2022. I'm just getting a notice request for additional evidence. I submitted evidence when I applied. What additional evidence should I submit? How much longer will it take? Should I be concerned? Well, if you got a notice, the notice would say what additional evidence that they need. So I can't guess what's on that. You need to read it. And if it hasn't arrived in the mail, wait for that. And how long will it take? There are no timelines. Should you be concerned? I don't know your case. If you have a good case, no. But if there's problems in your case, you should be very concerned. I just don't know. It's not enough. I can't analyze your case based on that info. Thomas Link says the new Biden effect policy affecting people admitted legally too with pending cases. It depends on what you mean pending cases, what kind of stuff it is. There's different aspects to the things he wants to do. So without knowing your case, it's too generalized to be able to answer that. Fried says, do you think the millions of illegals here are going to be able to vote in the election? Probably not. I don't like, people are not thing, but we have systems to stop voter registration. Really, the DMVs are the main thing. They got to be mindful of this. But frankly speaking, millions, it's not. I don't, honestly, no one wants to vote anyway. So the idea that, and I understand the worry that people have, and I see on Twitter and stuff, people talking about, migrants coming and affecting the vote, but most people don't care about voting. They're not going to take time. So practically speaking, there might be 10, 20,000 people, and that could affect if they're in a district that makes a difference. In California, we all know they're going to vote Democrat. So what difference does it make? Nothing. But maybe Florida, swing states, yeah, those got to be careful for those places. But millions, that's an over-exaggeration. People don't care about voting. Thomas said, does it only affect people who came without inspection? Pretty much that main one I talked about for spouse U.S. citizens, but they're doing some programs for people for employment-based cases. It's not clear how exactly it's going to work out. They haven't really given the Federal Register rules a breakdown of how the actual rules. Said, does it? Lakshmi says, I'm a green card holder. I applied my son under 21. Embassy approved all. How long it takes for interview? That depends on your embassy. Jessica says, I'm in the U.S. My husband's India. I've never been here. I've visited him and married him in India. Okay, I think you say your husband passed away. I don't know what to tell more about that other than we got to take the case and do it really with the embassy. All right, please stop repeating the question. I'm going to kick you out in a second. Angelo is asking a lot of the same question again. If I see all names before, unfortunately, I have to mute your account. Let's switch off to Instagram. We got some questions there. Jay Gotti says, USCIS requested my interview for marriage-based AOS, but I'm still in queue. Didn't get noticed. There are still chances to waive interview. That's up to them. I don't know. The chances are, what a chance? 1%. That's a chance. So that's not. The question is, it has an impossible answer. You just gotta wait and see. But as well as my I-485 was denied, I filed an appeal. I'm waiting to be reviewed. Would USCIS update if the case is reopened on their site, or they need a new case number for the appeal? The way when you do an appeal and it's updated, sometimes the I-290B gets updated, sometimes USCIS does it, and sometimes they don't do it at all, but it is updated. You get a paper notice. So it's all over the place, nothing consistent. Maya, one of our regulars, birth certificate of children born to spouses. Does it mean petitioner's children's birth certificate or beneficiary's birth certificate? Do all of them. Easy says, my DACA was on hold in 2021. I went to trade school and graduated. I still fit the requirements. I don't know. There's a lot of requirements for DACA. If you had DACA and you're renewing it, then you did renew it properly in time. That's okay. If you didn't, then no. So that's pretty much it. Prince says, I have an ICE parole under INA 212D5 and recently got married. Can I adjust status? If it's a 212D, probably I need to see exactly what kind of parole it is, but there's a good chance. So schedule a private consultation when we get into that, but we got to look at the parole stamp and how they allowed you to come in. Red Pill asks, do you think the millions? Oh, we already answered that question. Bill says, my DACA was on hold in 2021. I went to trade school and grad. Okay, so yeah, y'all switched to YouTube. That's smart of you. You got your questions answered first. So actually, it's Instagram right here. So Instagram and TikTok. Let's go back to YouTube really quick. As he says, my husband has been here for 10 years, but I'm currently a resident. I filed for citizenship. Would he still be able to qualify once I become a citizen, or would he qualify anymore? Yeah, once you become a citizen, it should fix it under if the new rule goes into effect. But the timing of citizenship is really important because if you finally become a citizen if a new administration happens, it's problematic. So hopefully look over the timelines. I have a detailed video on YouTube as to when you can file for citizenship, how soon. Just go to YouTube, JQK Law and citizenship timelines. So you file for the first or second day possible for citizenship to get it done faster before hopefully a new administration doesn't come to make things worse for you. Bill asked my doc, we answer that question. Monter says, oh, good to see you, Monter. Not a question, but I really can't wait being a Canadian with Nexus to land as an LPR in the U.S. and enjoy seamless cross-border travel. Well, it's never seamless. Even I get hassled out there, but good luck. And he said, pending DS-260 on diversity visa. I can happily report that entering the U.S. Canadian visitor Nexus and pending was seamless. Oh, was seamless. Well, it was good. Congratulations, Monter. You're done. Yeah, you're set. Just mark on your calendar 5 years from now, 4 years and 9 months, file for citizenship. Jessica follows up, can my husband come here while we wait for an I-130? If so, after I submit additional evidence, I'm not sure what you mean, I have to submit evidence, but if your husband has a B2 tourist visa approved and the people at the airport have no problems with it, then it's possible. Munter says, good to see you, boss. Love your stuff. I appreciate it, Munter. Thank you so much. I believe you left a nice review for the office, too. It's much appreciated. It's just having regulars that come on the show and ask great questions is always a pleasure. Thank you so much. Marion says, my husband's children are over 35 years old. Just get them all. You don't want the embassy to ask you for something, and then you have to go back and send it, and then you get delays. It's just birth certificates. They should have it. All right, let's go to TikTok. Beer says, my husband, oh yeah, answer that question. Can you give ideas on EB2? I don't know what you mean, ideas. It's a green card application process. M says, what about DACA, married a U.S. citizen, have kids? Is process easier? I answered that question. That shouldn't make a difference. Adi says, can I travel on conditional green card if I'm divorced? Yes, but you need to talk with the lawyer first. I can't say yes. I don't know because I got to see when your green card expires and how strong a case you have for removal of conditions if you're going to not file it jointly because you're divorced. So, Dottie, that's a consultation right there. Heads up really quick, if you want to download our Ultimate Marriage Green Card Guide that goes over the process for marriage and fiancé cases, go to marriageimmigrationlaw.com. Or if you want to come to our private webinar we're doing for marriage cases, go to that website, download the guide. I'll give you a secondary questionnaire to be able to join our live webinar Fridays at 10 a.m. I think it is Pacific time. Marriageimmigrationlaw.com. Can someone that has been deported still get a marriage after marriage? It depends on deportation, if it could be reopened, what the charges were. It's not impossible, but there's a lot more to go there. And it says, what do you think of a DW on record? Happened in 2018, no history since then. It's probably okay, but you need all the paperwork for it, and there's discretion. It could always mess you up. Princess says, what about the refugee green card processing time, please? I don't have processing times. Jessica says, my husband has been here for 15 years, married 5. Not too much paperwork to prove he's been here. We got to see. The thing is, there's a lot of different immigration programs that require you to show that you've been living in the United States for a set period of time, 5 or 10 years. The thing is, a lot of people who don't have status are afraid of being known. So what they end up doing is they intentionally try to have no paperwork to show where they are to avoid being caught. Then it's a double-edged sword because on the other hand, when these kind of programs that come to document it, they don't have that evidence. So you got to see what you got. Sometimes they allow affidavits, people that know you could write it and stuff like that. So nowadays with the internet, everything digitized, there's always a lot more records. But when I started doing this 10, 15 years ago, people, everything didn't have email a lot of times. So it's a little bit different. I want to ask, what do you have to say about Afghan SIV cases? I don't touch Afghan SIV we don't handle SIV cases in general. So I don't have much to say about that. Melvin says, please, John, I'm still waiting for an interview date since September last year for IR1 class spouse visa. What can I do? The interview day at the embassy or at I know you're a regular, Melvin. I can't remember the details of your case though. Which embassy is it? If it's an embassy or if it's in the US, you got to kind of wait. In both instances, you probably got to wait. Try suing, but probably just have to wait. Yuda says we've been waiting on I-601A for 1+ year now. Excited about this new program. Yeah, this is especially the new program that the administration has proposed that they're going to be doing is really good for the people who unfortunately have to do the I-601A process, a process that was permitted by President Obama for you to remain in the United States to get a waiver if you have unauthorized, presence for extended periods of time. That one's really good because the 601A process is crazy. It's been taking 4 or 5 years to approve those. So it's a disaster just to get that done. And so the main people it's going to help is the I-601A people. If you got an I-601A filing, you're in good luck. If you're married to a U.S. citizen, you're in a good position. Melvin says, please, John, I'm still waiting for an interview. Okay, Lagos, Nigeria. I talked with, there was an immigration lawyers conference last week in Chicago. It's the biggest event for immigration lawyers. I go there and talk and talk. So I lost weight. I was just walking and talking 4 days straight. I talked to 2 of the panels there, and within the immigration community, I'm very active. So I have a lot of people to talk with. And every time I ran into a couple Nigerian immigration lawyers and I go directly at them, what's your experience in Lagos? It's all bad. It's all bad. Unfortunately, it's not bad. It's not happening. Kenya, Nigeria, those busy embassies, nothing's happening. I wish I had better stuff to say, but I have clients who just their families are torn apart, children for parents are torn apart. It's a disaster. It's just a complete disaster the way they're treating Nigerians in this case. Mayan says, Dear Sir John Khosravi, what do you think when I get my travel document? I only receive EAD and SSN. Yeah, they're inconsistent about when you actually get the advanced parole. We did have a recent case where the travel document and the advanced parole were approved together, and we were kind of shocked because I wasn't expecting that. Usually nowadays, work permit gets approved like a month or 2 after filing, and travel permission comes 8, 9, 10 months later if we're lucky. Okay, and it says we sent the I-601A waiver a few months ago. Can we still do the pro in place? I think so. I can't say for certain but that you seem to be the perfect kind of case on it. So if you all have these kind of S601A cases, send me an email. Once we have more news on this, I could probably set up a private seminar, just a group talk, because we have consultations. The consultation fees are, for me, is $325 when I talk me half an hour. I know it's hard for a lot of people, but in these kind of specific cases where we know exactly once we know exactly what's going on, I could do a group private webinar, and we could just talk it there openly. So my TikTok's shutting off and on. Hopefully, I'll hear it. But download the guide marriageimmigrationlaw.com, and then you could get the general webinars. But for this specific, I just popped my head I should do this. But if you got one of these I-601A cases, but could do the parole in place potentially, email me and we'll get your information together so that once we have actual rules on what's going on, we could do a private group, 5, 10, 15, 20 people seminar and talking group about it, what the plan is. Jan says, hey, John, question. All our paperwork is accepted from the National Data Center as documents are accepted. You know the current interview time for Benin currently? I just talked about how bad the embassy and, Kenya and Nigeria is. Having said that, I intentionally mentioned those big ones, like the big because we just had a case in Benin and one in Ghana that were approved like they have the embassy interview like 3-4 months, and I was very shocked. I don't know if it was a fluke. I don't know if it was Jen. It was what, but we had one Benin. It was a fiance visa case. It wasn't, but usually they're the same nowadays. That went through. So I don't know. It really depends, but it's a little bit better on the other embassies. Angelo says, I got a removal procedure 2001. Does that affect my future? I don't know. I need to review your whole case. We got a lot of repeat questions popping up on TikTok. Any changes to H-1B cap for grad students? Not particularly. And my DACA husband did advanced parole and come back to U.S. legally. Can he get approved for this new? You don't really need it. What you did right now, where you got DACA advanced parole return, the new Biden administration thing is going to be doing the same thing without leaving. So essentially, you already did what you needed to do, so you don't need to care about that. Betty Marr says, what's after Department of State sends your case? Did you gotta wait for an interview probably? Prince. Okay, so we got a lot of repeat questions on TikTok. It's hard to follow. Let me see if other people have questions on Instagram. I think we got a couple. Sekar says, hi, I just received a 10-year green card through marriage. That's good. Make sure it was not supposed to be a 2-year. It was appropriately 10 years. And the way you could check that is my Instagram screen's froze. I'm not sure you can hear me. But if your marriage is less than 2 years old at the time of the green card approval, then it should have been a 2-year green card. So keep an eye on that. You don't have problems. Maya asks, follows up, our attorney doesn't answer on the phone when we need to talk. Is it okay to get another attorney? It's always okay, but it seems like you're really far in your case. I'm not sure it's worth it to maybe your attorney's not picking it up because not much going on in your case, but they should be able to answer your questions. It's illegal for lawyers not to answer their phones or not to answer their phone. They got to reply to you. So email them or something. Yeah, but from what you said about your case, it seems like you're near the end anyways, but you could always have a consultation and a lawyer look over it. Shagar says, can I file for my current spouse? She is F1 OPT status. Maybe, Shagar. Download our guide, marriageimmigrationlaw.com. Then on the next page, sign up for the webinar. If you want it straight, you can have a consultation with one of the attorneys in our office, but we got to review your case to see what's going on. Maya says, I wish I'd known you earlier. I appreciate that, Maya. It's very kind of you, but I think you're going to be okay. It seems like your case is going okay. Shagar says, I received a 10-year green card through marriage, and it's a waiver. Can I now file for my current spouse, who's now F1 OPT status? So what's problematic is that if you get a green card through marriage and within 5 years turn around and get remarried to follow someone else, you have a heightened standard about whether they believe your marriage is real or not. So it's possible, it's definitely possible for you to get green card for the spouse, but this is one of those cases 100% you need a lawyer that's competent to go over it because you need to have that higher standard so you don't get messed up. That could be very problematic if they accuse it of marriage fraud. Drip says, can I change my J1 status to F1 while in the United States? It's not impossible, but there's just work. Hamza says, I wanted an LLM for America. Please guide the best way in proceeding. So you contact schools and you get accepted to one and you apply for a student visa and hopefully you get approved. Just go to the website of the school you want to go to. They'll have all the information there. Jamaica Queen says, how long after prima facie do you get biometric work authorization card? There's no fixed timelines on any of that stuff. Let me see. Let's go to see YouTube. Any questions? No. Okay, let's go to TikTok. Will common law marriage work? Most of the time, it won't work unless it's legally accepted in your jurisdiction. Yuppie says, I got arrested and was essentially dropped to a traffic ticket. Would I get PIP? I have DACA now. Well, it's discretion, but we got to see what your arrest was about. We need the arrest report and the court report, all that kind of stuff. How long does it take the status to change from in transit to interview schedule? There's no timelines. Print, we answered that. Anis, we answered that. What does individual hearings mean? It means you have a court hearing to talk about your case. Zesp says, I'm graduating this year in the fall from university, but I have an associate degree. Can I get the visa? Which visa? Hidden says, any news on people that are in Mexico 10 years have passed? Can they apply for this new program? Not if you're outside. Roku says, I'm a green card holder. When I filed for over H-Sun 2019, I'm a citizen. How long will it be? Well, you got to be careful. Once you become a citizen, the case kind of changes, and that can mess up their CISPA timeline. So, Rook, you got to schedule a consultation on that one because we got to analyze the Child Status Protection Act and your filings, make sure it was done properly. Bill says, we got repeat questions. Let me just keep going. Sure says, after the individual hearing, how many months will it take your final decision? There's no fixed timelines. Maya says, I did advance parole already. Should I proceed with submitting for green card or wait? Maya, I can't recommend anything without knowing your details of your case. Please schedule a consultation. Afghan Flag says, how long does it take the statute? We answered that. Any question about timelines is an impossible answer. If Nyla says, if my asylum is an administrative closure, do I accumulate unlawful presence? My husband is USC. You probably do. You've already accumulated enough unlawful presence just in the court hearing. So unlawful presence doesn't necessarily matter if you're married to a U.S. citizen, but it depends on how you enter the United States. This parole program may help, but we got to open your case up at the court out of administrative closures to be able to adjust. It's a mess. Now you need to schedule a private consultation. There's a lot going on there. All right. How much budget is required for LLM? I'm not a specialist in Hamza in school laws and stuff like that. You need to contact the schools and talk with them. All right. Ask the Elio says, I just came across the border and confused how to apply for asylum. We don't handle asylum cases in our office, so I recommend consulting with other firms. Miss Water says, do visa officers consider travel when applying for B1, B2 visa? They consider everything. Maya says, thank you. God bless you and your family. God bless you as well, Maya. Thank you so much. I wish you the best the rest of your process. Thanks for coming on the show again. Chris Marr says, do you think this parole will help speed up I-601As being approved? It may, because probably half of the I-601As aren't necessary anymore, so they're going to withdraw them. And so it has a chance of really clearing up the backlog. It's a 4 or 5 year backlog right now. It's insane. Graduating this, okay. My husband is 10 years of August 2024. I'm guessing timeline doesn't work for you. Sorry about that. Handdrop says that my citizenship interview last year, August, and I passed my SN5 still pending. Try contacting them. Yuppie says, can you get my question? Already answered your question. Ryan Secret says, I won 30, married U.S. citizen, been a year so far. Is that norm? Yeah. Jay says, I've submitted 2 advanced parole as a DACA holder, but AP never came. What can I do? I don't know. You gotta contact, see what's going on there. I don't know what's going on in your case. What about the bar? What about it? Kristen says, husband is in home country, green card interview, case and administrative processing. Will this help him? Probably not. Not this big change. It doesn't affect those people. Lauren asks, which is quicker, CR1 or the K1 visa? Quicker for what? To get in the United States or for getting a green card? And which embassy are you dealing with? And do you have financial issues with the affidavit of support or not? Are you Iranian, for example? As a person has military history? It varies. We typically go CR1. Nate says, if I do an I-212, do I give it to the consular officer right after I get denied, or do I send you ISS? Depends on what kind of 212 you're doing. For some reason, they have different ways. So if you're married and doing I-212, you can mail in USCIS ahead of time. If you're doing a fiance visa, you got to wait for a denial first. So it's very dumb the way they designed it, but that's one of the ways it works. If you go to the website, it explains all this. It is written there. Paul says, I just submitted my application for interview in Juarez. What is next? You wait for an interview. Yep, yeah, I answered your question. I this discretion, but we got to review your arrest record. Melissa, what if your spouse has 2 entries, last one in 2005? Well, if there's a potential for the permanent bar, it's very, very problematic. We'd have to see what's going on there. Lauren Jabber says, to get to the United States, my fiance is in Beirut. So, yeah, Beirut's not a good one to be in because that embassy is not as fast. It's going to be a personal decision if you want K1 or CR1. But if I was in Beirut, I'd probably want to leave as fast as possible. You might be in the unique cases to go K1 style. But there's issues. So, for example, if a president changes and there's some travel ban that affects Lebanese, sometimes they'll make an exception for spouse of U.S. citizens, and that may not include fiance. So if you go the fiance route, it potentially might get your partner here like a month or 2 faster, but potentially might mess them up if they change the rules later. So there's a lot of complexity and strategy that goes on. And you say you did the K1. So hopefully it goes well. It's all over the place, but there's a lot of non-legal strategy and planning that's to happen. That's what we're here for. It's not just these forms, but it's like, what's going to happen 1 year? What's going to happen 3 years? What's going to happen 5 years from now? Miss Mina says, good night. How long does it take for CR1 in Portugal? I don't have timelines. Gustavo says, will you need an employee sponsor or just college degree? It depends on what you're trying to do. Cynthia says, what if I got married to a U.S. citizen and divorced? What about it? I'm not sure which question is. User says, what if my wife is a U.S. citizen but was denied her passport? Was she able to petition for me? Why was she denied a passport? She's maybe not a U.S. citizen. So this is the more complex kind of situation. I actually have a case like this where they accidentally gave the wife a passport even though she didn't qualify, and it creates problems for the future spouse. Paul says, what if I submit my application to go Mexico for interview? What about it? You guys got to write full questions. Let me say, what about it? Doesn't help me. That's not a real question. Kristen says, husband is in home country, green card review case, and Mitch Crossing will just help him. So, no. Okay, a lot of repeats. My I-130 is approved. I-485 got withholding due to asylum. Am I eligible for parole in place? I don't know. I have to analyze your case, schedule consultation. And plus, we don't know what the parole in place rule is. Married U.S. citizen have removal and holding. I don't know. Do you know if this will apply to parents of U.S. citizens? They haven't said anything about that yet. Astrid said, DACA entered on EWI. Given a court date and missed it, can I still get PIP married U.S. citizens? I mean, if you got to miss a court date, you probably have like a removal order. So you got to figure out what's going on in the court case first. And so I'm not sure if you'll be able to get the PIP in time if the administration changes, but that's a deep analysis to happen in your case. Lauren says, we're halfway done. We're almost done. We're waiting for an interview. Hopefully happens sooner rather than later. Daddy said, can you repeat it? I can't hear your answer. Daddy, you got to understand there's 1,000 questions asked, so that I don't know what your previous question was. My husband is a felon. Can he get a PIP? Probably not if he has a felony, but I can't say for sure. Got to see what kind of felony it is. Why did my color go down so much? Wait, sorry. On TikTok, I'm like all dark now. Like shadowy. Let me see how I fix that. Well, sorry. The quality went bad. What if you had a DUI, but it's not on the record? If you have DUI, it's on the record. I don't know what to tell you. Is the parole thing applied to ones at deportation? We have to see where you are in the deportation process. When can I get a green card? When I come to fiance, when can I get a green card when I came with fiance visa? We get married and then you file for it and it takes sometimes 3 months, a year. I don't know. It just says half PIP went to interview, found inadmissible because of overstay. What can I do? We got to see what's going on in your case. I don't know. Why If you have PIP, how do they do an overstay? Do you mean you have the permanent bar, which is probably what you're talking about? Because I've seen that happen in these kind of cases before. You can't do anything. So you should have had a lawyer help you to avoid bothering paying for all the fees and waiting to do all that. Maria says, my sister has DACA, but she's in Mexico with no permission. Anyway, she come back. Bad move. She could try humanitarian parole, but that's a terrible move to go out. I understand sometimes you got it, but it's problematic. Viking says, what are financial requirements for U.S. spouse to sponsor? Download our guide, marriageimmigrationlaw.com, and answers right there, marriageimmigrationlaw.com. And once you get the download, you get a chance to sign up for one of our webinars. So check it out. Felony burglary, you're out of luck. You're lucky the guy doesn't get deported. Felony burglary is pretty serious. King says, what if you have a permanent bar? Then you can't do anything. Where are you located? I'm in Los Angeles, but we don't accept cases where our location matters. All our stuff is like online mail, Zoom, all that kind of stuff. U visa recipient, married U.S. citizen. That may apply to you. Ram says, can you stay out of the U.S. for more than a year with a green card? You can, but there's repercussions and delay citizenship and potentially cause other issues if you don't plan it out properly. How do we get the light back better? And why is Instagram just frozen? I wonder if people on Instagram, if you're watching, can you see me? Because to me, it shows that my screen is frozen. Going back to YouTube, we got a bunch of questions there. Love says, USCIS transferred my I-485 to a state where I'm not living. Do you know why? Because they're so busy. They try to find officers in different parts of the country are not as busy, so they could just finish up the case. I says, you have a video that you recommended how to fill out my AP to go to Mexico and come back legal entry. I don't recommend anything in my videos, and I don't say to do anything, so I'm not sure which video you're talking about. Bridget says, OPT was denied. What can I do? Can I apply to a school to get F1 visa active? Bridget, we got to see how long you've been graduated, what the denial is for, if your visa is still valid, how much out of status you are. So, Bridget, that's a private consultation right there. Contact the office, jqqlaw.com/contact. Blessing asks, hey, John, hey, I have an invitation for University in Cincinnati. If I don't get an interview date before my event, can my visa be used for another event? NBC office, I mean, it depends on what you're trying to do, but I don't know what you mean by invitation. If you want to come visit, then come visit. Invitations don't have much value. Jack says, are F1 family preference categories part of this process? No, F1s are parents, adult children that are single U.S. citizens. Jack says, I mean, child over 20 years citizen, are they part of the process? Not that I know of. This particular one about parole in place. There might be other options for employment base that they're trying to put out there, but they're not clear exactly what the rules are yet. Jill says, I have 17 days left for 10 years. I-130 approved. Okay. Arbin says, why is my application of I-129 if they skipped in case after making their decisions? USCIS is not consistent. Oh, man, I look horrible on TikTok. Sorry, I got to try to get the color on this well. Why does it look like this? Anyone know how to get my... shoot, I'm trying to make the brightness better. It looks all like I'm... Have you all seen the clip of Joe Rogan when he was sick with COVID and CNN made him look darker than he really is, or like more sick than he really was? That's what it looks like right now on TikTok. Do you take case in a process already? Rarely. We like to handle the case from the beginning because it comes much more work to take it midway. But we could have a full consultation session, discuss it first to see what's going on, Christina. Sometimes you don't even need a lawyer. Like you're already processing, it's good. But we got to analyze the whole thing to see what potential red flags there are that can be problematic that we got to be prepared for. Xavier says, if a family member is convicted in the USA and got deported All right, so everyone on YouTube and LinkedIn everywhere, I'm not sure what happened with my internet that cut me out, but I'm back. Arbin says, we answered that. Can apply for asylum after 1 year. It's not impossible. You have to show a reason why it took more than a year to apply. So let's see what's going on with your reasoning. We don't handle asylum, though, so we can't help you on that. Sock says, what is the processing time for VAWA? I don't know. Arbin says, what is my I-129? Okay, I answer that. Ed says, can I start the process if I'm currently an undergrad but graduating this year? I have a legal entry. What process are you talking about? Saj says, we answered that. Permanent bar, can you still get married to a U.S. citizen? You can still get married, but the permanent bar means you have to wait outside for 10 years. When will DACA open up again? That's up to the politicians. Queen says, I got engagement visa, but I got married to a different citizen. Person eligible for new. No, that's a problem. If you had a F1, K1 fiance visa, you enter the United States, you marry someone else, that you can't, other than asylum, maybe another exception for abuse or something like that. You cannot if I have to leave, and when you leave, you're probably gonna be subject to a bar, so it gets really messy for you. Melissa says, my husband has an order of removal. I want 30 approved. Do we qualify? That when you have court stuff, we got to sit and read what happened in the court hearing. So those aren't easy cases. We just say yes or no on. Melissa says, my husband has an order. So yeah, we're going to set up a webinar for these kind of cases. Just go and message us by email or jqqlaw.com/contact, or download the marriage immigration guide, marriageimmigrationlaw.com. And then on the second page, reference what your case is. So we could accumulate your emails. And once we have more information, I can send a mass email out and do a group webinar to talk about the new process. I don't like to come here and just talk about hypotheticals. If y'all have been watching me for a long time, if people ask how long does my case take, or what's going to happen with the visa bulletin, or what's going to happen with this, I don't like to speculate because it's just giving false hope. I like to have the facts and just go from there. So having said that, just the best thing, that's why I'll collect your information. Really, it's your name and email, so I can let you know. Once we got the answers, where we got a point where we can have a webinar, we have a special webinar for this. So if y'all do that, if we get enough people, we'll do it. Just jqqlaw.com/contact, marriageimmigrationlaw.com, all these different things you can do to get a hold of us. info@jqqlaw.com's website, jqqlaw.com. What if my FOIA doesn't show nothing, but I know there are 2 entries, enter 1999? Yeah, unfortunately, we do a FOIA or Freedom of Information Act request for a copy of your file. Many times they just mess up and don't have, they don't give us this stuff, even though they know. I just realized we've been on for 37 minutes. We're way past the 30-minute typical show time. So I'll take one random question on TikTok and if any on Instagram, and we'll call it a day. So Jam says, how long does it take? I don't have timelines. Let's go to actual question. How long does it take? Nope. Another question. What if my FOIA? I already answered that. Based on new proposal, what are the details? We're going to have bachelor's degree. Okay. One last TikTok question. What's going to bail? Hassan says, will people with deportation order qualify by the immigration policy? We don't know exactly yet. Get on our list, email us so we can put you on a contact list. And then come on, I want a juicy fact-based question. We got anything? Counter says, my cousin is eligible to sponsor citizenship. Can they do this? Married plus 10. I got to review the case. And how many months should I live in the U.S. before applying for application for citizen? Husband's a citizen. Shoshana, you got to schedule private consultation. I'll give you details. If you've been living with your U.S. citizen spouse for 3 years after getting a green card, you're filed in. But I know there's more I probably want to talk about. It says, my lawyer charged $5,000 for representation. I paid half already. What can I do? Do about what? I'm not sure. How come you're skipping mine? Because we ran out of time. That's rude. Prophetess, if you look, there's 1,000 questions here, and I probably answered your question already, but keep in mind, it's hard to figure out what's going on here. I've said many times, go on YouTube, and that's easier to answer questions there. So with that, if you're interested in this new law, email us, info@jqqlaw.com, or download our marriage guide at marriageimmigrationlaw.com. On the second page, there'll be a longer questionnaire that has more details. You schedule a general webinar there, but I'll give you the information needed or their contact info. So then when we have the actual full breakdown of what the rules are going to look like for this new Biden change, we can have a private webinar and just talk about that because it's still not fully clear what's going on. So let me answer a question on Instagram. Yom says, my wife's a U.S. citizen after interview since January 10, 2024. Already answered that question. So I guess we're about done. We have a lot of timelines question pop in, but I don't have answers about timelines. Abshak says, my wife has a green card. Can she sponsor me? Download the guide, marriageimmigrationlaw.com. However, I need more information if you sponsor or not. So it's all about that. Islam says, I paid $2,500 for change of status. Total is $5,000. Do I proceed or wait for a process? I mean, if the person did the work, you got to pay him. That's cheating him if you don't pay him. So that's that. If you sign a contract, you got to go by what the contract says that they applied. They didn't know that we're going to change the rules. And I guess last question, Enjoy Your Life asks, how many months do you have to be in America on spousal visa before applying for citizenship? So it's not a spousal visa, it's a green card. If you're married and living with your spouse, you got to be here at least 2 years and 9 months before you file for citizenship and satisfy all the other citizenship criteria. Thank you, Aaron, for joining. I hope Instagram went well. Sorry, on YouTube and LinkedIn, my internet broke out. But we went 40 minutes, not bad. And we got some good news with this administration changes. Stay posted. We're here every Tuesday, 4 p.m. Pacific time. Take your questions. We have private Friday at 10 a.m. Pacific time webinars for those that download the Marriage Immigration Law Guide at marriageimmigrationlaw.com. And then go to the second page to complete a thing to join one of the webinars. And be a good time. It's private, so we get more details. Can't keep it. It's less generic as it is here. And Karen asks, how long does the process take for the new law to take? How long is the process going to take? No idea. No one knows. No one knows. And that's most of immigration. No one knows. All right, everybody. Until next one, God bless. Be safe. See you then.